Hey everyone, ready to ditch the same old financial advice?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all ears.
Today, we're diving deep into Sanjay Kathuria's interview on the Sagar Sinha podcast. He had some seriously eye-opening ideas about financial freedom.
I'm intrigued. What stood out to you?
Well, he really challenged how we think about financial freedom.
In what way?
He said it's not just about how much money you make, it's about buying back your time and making your money work for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. He even shared that story, right?
Exactly. About the person earning €7 a month, but still living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, yeah, that was mind-blowing. Really puts things in perspective.
Totally. It shows that even a high income doesn't guarantee financial security.
It all comes down to managing your money well, no matter how much you earn.
So how do we make our money work for us?
Sanjay was a big advocate for the power of compounding.
Like setting up an SWP, a systematic withdrawal plan.
Exactly. He gave this awesome example. Investing 20,000 end of month for 20 years. And then being able to withdraw 2 lakh every month for another 20 years.
Yeah.
Incredible, right?
Yeah. Imagine the financial security that would bring.
Makes you think about long-term strategies instead of just quick wins.
But he didn't stop at the usual advice about stocks and mutual funds.
Oh, what else did he suggest? I'm curious.
He was really into high-yielding bonds. Platforms like Grip Invest, Giraffe, Wint Wealth.
Honestly, those aren't on my radar. How do they work?
Well, they're a more direct way to invest in companies that need capital. Often, they offer better returns than your typical fixed deposit.
Sounds promising. Any examples?
Yeah, he mentioned Blue Smart Mobility, that electric vehicle company. They raise funds through platforms like Grip Invest.
So investors are essentially giving them a loan in exchange for fixed returns. Interesting.
Yep. And because it's direct, the interest rates are much better.
So many innovative ways to invest these days. What about sovereign gold bonds?
The SGBs. Sanjay highlighted those as a way to tap into India's love for gold.
He did, and mentioned some tax benefits too, but how exactly do they work?
Well, basically, you're lending your gold to the government in exchange for interest payments. It's a way to keep that gold within India.
Because we import so much gold every year.
Right, which affects our currency reserves.
Yeah.
SGBs are a way to counteract that.
So you support government initiatives and get decent returns. What's not to like?
And the tax benefits are pretty sweet. If you hold them until maturity, usually 8 years, your capital gains are completely tax-free.
Tax-free gains. Sign me up.
Yeah.
What about real estate? Did he cover that at all?
He did. He talked about real estate investment trusts, or REITs for short.
Those sound familiar, but I'm not entirely sure how they work. It's like owning a fraction of a building, right?
Exactly. Imagine owning a piece of a luxury hotel.
Now that's a dream. What are the advantages compared to buying a whole property?
Oh, for one, they're super liquid. You can easily buy and sell them on the stock exchange, just like stocks.
That makes sense. Much easier than trying to sell a whole property.
And you get a steady income stream through dividends. Plus, you can diversify your real estate holdings without the headache of managing properties yourself.
That's pretty appealing, avoiding tenants and repairs.
Exactly. Less stress, more returns.
So we've covered SGBs, high-yield bonds, and REITs. Any other unconventional paths Sanjay mentioned?
Oh, there's more. He introduced this fascinating idea called asymmetric returns.
Okay, that's a new one. What's that all about?
It's where a small initial effort can lead to long-term passive income streams.
That sounds intriguing. Can you give an example?
He talked about things like creating online courses, building a YouTube channel, even teaching something niche, like dating advice.
So leveraging your existing knowledge to create value for others,
Precisely. It's about finding your niche and being creative.
and then reaping the rewards for years to come. Smart. Any other examples that stood out?
Oh yeah, he mentioned a 16-year-old making a killing, like 7-8 lakh a month, from his AI agency.
Wow, that's inspiring. Shows that age is no barrier.
Right. It's all about finding your niche and putting in the effort.
But Sanjay didn't just focus on the digital world.
You're right. He encouraged us to explore opportunities in industries that are often overlooked.
Like what? I'm curious.
He talked about solar energy, mining, generic pharmaceuticals, even commodity trading.
Wow, those are some diverse fields.
Yeah, and he shared real-world examples of people earning substantial incomes in those areas.
It's like he's saying, forget the hype, focus on solving real problems.
Exactly. And he had this great line, if you can sell garbage, you can make money in India.
A bit provocative, but I get his point. There are untapped markets everywhere.
For sure. But it's not just about young people. Sanjay believes anyone can benefit from this unconventional mindset.
Did he mention how we can learn these skills?
He talked about how his own son is learning about finance and entrepreneurship through YouTube.
That's interesting. It's like the younger generation is creating its own path to financial literacy.
Totally. They're embracing unconventional learning methods and pursuing their passions.
It's inspiring to see. But what did Sanjay say about India's overall economic outlook?
He's super bullish on India's future. He sees the next 10 to 20 years as a golden age for entrepreneurship.
Wow, that's encouraging to hear. What makes him so optimistic?
Well, he pointed to factors like political stability, government initiatives, and increasing domestic investment.
What specific government initiatives did he mention?
He was particularly impressed with their focus on infrastructure development, like the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway.
Yeah, that's a massive project.
He also mentioned the government's efforts to make it easier to do business in India, reducing bureaucracy for entrepreneurs.
That's a huge plus. A more business-friendly environment can really boost growth.
Absolutely. It encourages innovation, attracts investment, and ultimately leads to more economic prosperity.
So India is on the right track. But are there any challenges we need to address to reach our full potential?
Sanjay did highlight the need to improve education and skill development.
Especially in rural areas, right?
Yes, exactly. He believes a skilled workforce is crucial for driving innovation and global competitiveness.
And it's not just about traditional education either.
Right. He also stressed the importance of digital literacy, equipping people with the skills to thrive in this digital age.
So it's about creating a more inclusive growth story where everyone has the opportunity to succeed.
Absolutely. But before we delve into those specific strategies for individuals, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment to explore how we can capitalize on India's growth.
So back to those specific strategies Sanjay talked about for capitalizing on India's growth, he kept coming back to the idea of asymmetric return.
Right. It's all about thinking outside the box, using your existing skills and knowledge to generate income, even if it's not your typical 9-to-5.
Like that example he gave, teaching dating advice.
Exactly. Might sound unconventional, but if you have a knack for it, why not create an online course or a coaching program?
Yeah. Share your expertise, build a following, and make money on your own terms.
And the beauty of it is you don't necessarily need a ton of capital up front. The digital landscape really opens up possibilities.
You've got platforms like YouTube, online course platforms, even social media. It's incredible how much you can do these days.
But he also encouraged looking beyond the screen, especially if you're more of a hands-on person.
Oh, I remember him talking about the pharmaceutical industry in India. He said it has huge growth potential, right?
Yep. He highlighted the high profit margins in the generic medicine market.
Why generic medicine specifically?
Well, they're becoming increasingly popular in India because they're more affordable.
Makes sense.
And with that growing demand, there's a need for more distributors to get those medicines to the people who need them.
So there's a real opportunity there. It's about spotting those essential needs and finding creative ways to fill them.
Exactly. And speaking of essential needs, remember our conversation about gold? Sanjay had some interesting thoughts on how to use India's love for gold to achieve financial independence.
He did. He went deep into the world of sovereign gold bonds, or SGBs.
Yeah, those. He pointed out how India has a massive amount of gold just sitting idle in households.
He called it immobilized gold, didn't he?
He did. Essentially a treasure trove of wealth that's not actively contributing to the economy. And that's where SGBs come in.
So how do they work? How do they mobilize that gold?
It's pretty simple, actually. Individuals can exchange their physical gold for SGBs, which are essentially government bonds backed by that gold.
Ah, so you're lending your gold to the government and earning interest on it.
Exactly. It's a win-win. Individuals get a steady income stream, and the government gains a valuable asset.
Plus the tax benefits. You mentioned those earlier.
Right. If you hold the SGBs until maturity, which is usually 8 years, your capital gains are completely tax-free.
That's a nice perk. So you get exposure to the price of gold, you earn interest, and you enjoy tax benefits.
It's a pretty attractive investment option. And the returns are decent too. He said the first tranche of SGBs offered around 11% to 12% annualized returns over 8 years.
Wow, that's significantly higher than traditional fixed deposits. How do you even invest in these SGBs?
There are two ways. You can either exchange your physical gold for bonds or just buy them with cash.
Sounds straightforward enough.
But there's a catch. They're not always available. The government releases them in tranches a few times a year.
So you have to be ready to jump on the opportunity.
Exactly. They tend to be pretty popular. But now let's switch gears and talk about real estate again.
Oh, yeah. Sanjay had some interesting thoughts on REITs, real estate investment trusts.
He described them as game changers for anyone wanting to invest in real estate without the traditional hassles.
Right, no more dealing with tenants or property maintenance.
He compared REITs to mutual funds for real estate.
So you pool your money with other investors to buy large commercial properties.
Exactly. Imagine owning a piece of a shopping mall or an office building.
Or even a luxury hotel.
Yeah.
What are the main advantages over buying a property directly?
Well, they're much more liquid. You can buy and sell REIT units on the stock exchange, just like stocks.
Ah, so you can easily cash out if you need to.
Exactly. Plus, you get a steady income stream through dividends. And REITs allow you to diversify across multiple properties, which lowers your risk.
So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right. But he stressed the importance of transparency. Investors should know exactly which properties the REIT owns, their occupancy rates, and the financial health of the tenants.
Makes sense. You want to make sure you're investing in a well-managed REIT.
Absolutely. But to really illustrate how the fractional ownership works, he gave this great example. Imagine you want to invest in a commercial building, but don't have crores of rupees to buy an entire shop or office space.
Okay, following.
With a REIT, you can pool your money with others and collectively own the whole building.
So you own a share of the building and get a portion of the rental income. That's brilliant.
It makes real estate investing accessible to a much wider range of people.
It's like democratizing real estate. Did he talk about any specific types of REITs?
Oh yeah, he mentioned these new ones called Infrastructure Investment Trusts, or INWIPs.
Invites. What are those all about?
They'll let individuals invest in large infrastructure projects like roads, bridges, and power plants.
Wow. Investing in a piece of a highway, that's amazing. But are there any downsides to investing in REITs? Any risks we should know about?
Sanjay did acknowledge that REITs, like any investment, carry some risk. Their value can go up and down based on market conditions, interest rates, things like that.
So you need to do your research and choose carefully.
Exactly. And they're not a get-rich-quick scheme. REITs are more of a long-term investment.
So patience is key. Did he have any tips on picking the right REITs?
He said to look for REITs managed by reputable companies with a strong track record in real estate. Also, REITs with a diverse range of properties, high occupancy rates, and good tenants.
So you're looking for signs of financial stability and consistent returns?
Exactly. But overall, he's very optimistic about REITs and invites in India. He sees them as a great way to diversify your portfolio and tap into growth in real estate and infrastructure.
It's incredible how many investment options are available these days.
I know. Sanjay really opened my eyes to the possibilities.
You know, what really struck me was how Sanjay emphasized that success doesn't always have to be about digital ventures or fancy tech startups.
Right. He encouraged us to look closer to home, to find opportunities that might be hiding in plain sight.
I remember him talking about mining, not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when you think of financial freedom.
I know. Mining. But he made a really compelling case.
What does he say about it?
He talked about how crucial mining is to so many industries. Everything from construction to technology.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook those essential industries.
But he pointed out how lucrative it can be. He even said coal is gold.
Coal is gold. That's a new one.
Right. It really makes you rethink your definition of a good business.
But how do you even get started in mining? It seems like a very specialized field.
Sanjay actually recommends starting with trading. He said, start trading coal.
Trading coal. Okay, and why coal specifically?
He said it's a way to learn the ropes, build relationships with suppliers and buyers, and really understand the industry from the ground up.
Makes sense. It's like an apprenticeship for entrepreneurs.
Exactly. You learn by doing, and you don't need a huge upfront investment to get started.
So how would you approach coal trading as a business?
Sanjay's advice is to focus on solving problems. He gave the example of a power plant needing a steady supply of coal. If you can be that reliable source, you've got a business.
It's about connecting the dots between supply and demand. Classic business principles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he shared a story about a coal trader he knows who runs a low-key operation but makes a fortune.
Really? How much are we talking?
Sanjay said this guy's making 250 crore a year.
Wow. And he doesn't even have a fancy office?
Nope. Just a deep understanding of the industry, strong relationships, and a knack for solving problems.
It's a good reminder that you don't need a flashy brand to be successful.
Right. Sometimes the most profitable opportunities are the ones no one else is paying attention to.
Did Sanjay talk about any other unconventional business models?
He briefly mentioned gold bullion trading.
Gold bullion trading. Is there really that much money to be made in buying and selling gold?
Apparently so. He said traders typically earn a small margin per kilogram, but make up for it in volume.
So it's a high volume business.
Yeah. He knows traders who move 100 kilograms of gold a day.
That's a lot of gold. It's amazing how much wealth is generated behind the scenes in these seemingly ordinary businesses.
Sanjay really challenged us to think differently about success.
So after this deep dive, what's the key takeaway you'd share with listeners who are eager to explore these unconventional paths?
I think the biggest takeaway is that India is a land of opportunity. Success isn't limited to those who follow traditional paths.
Sanjay urged us to break free from our screens, get out into the real world, and explore those seemingly ordinary businesses that have the potential to be extraordinary.
It's about being bold, curious, and persistent.
Absolutely. And don't forget that financial freedom isn't just about the money. It's about passion, creativity, and embracing the unknown.
And he left us with a powerful question. What seemingly ordinary product or service could you turn into an extraordinary source of income?
That's a great question for all of us to think about. This deep dive has been a journey of exploration, challenging our assumptions and sparking new ideas. And remember, the path to financial freedom isn't always straightforward. Sometimes the most rewarding journeys are the ones that take us off the beaten path. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those questions coming. Until next time, happy investing.